Students, hi, Catherine Robertson here. I hope that you are enjoying your first week of ethical considerations in business. I'm going to give you a short video to go along with the Ethics Chapter 1 PowerPoint and talk a little bit about the course. So the textbook is available via PDF, but you can also find the textbook. You can purchase the textbook from OpenStax, but you can also purchase it on eBay and other places, like used versions for, $10 or less if you're interested. All right, so chapter 1 starts to talk about how we, every day we make decisions. And in the business context, a lot of times these decisions have consequences for not only ourselves, but other folks that we work with, right? And for the businesses maybe that we work for or that we own. And, how we go about our decision-making process is very important. And so if you're looking at the PowerPoint, you could either you've looked at it already or, you can use this video in accordance with the PowerPoint. And, one of the things that we have to think about are when we make decisions, how do they affect other folks, right? And so if you look at the fifth slide, it talks a little bit about a company and the different folks that are impacted or the different entities that are impacted by decision-making processes that we have or that we employ. And so on that slide, it talks about, not only our clients, our customers, suppliers, investors, retailers, employees, the media, the government, all of those things kind of come into play. The environment in which our company operates, the local community, and also don't forget about competitors. The decisions that we make within our company or for our company impact our competitors as well. So when you are looking through chapter 1 and I have a few videos there for you, think about the different stakeholders that are involved with a company, right? And sometimes they are not always as easy to spot, right? The folks that are affected by the decisions that our company or that we make for our company, they're not easy to spot who those decisions impact. And so, in particular, when we're thinking about for-profit companies, we think about like strategic planning, and we think about what are some of the decisions that we make, and what are the long-term effects of those decisions. So, those of you that have had a psychology course or a sociology course, you study different folks, and you start to understand this idea of reason and how we all kind of come into this place where we are operating and making decisions from our own kind of background or foundation about reason. And this idea that reason depends on respect for rules is one option that, we can consider when we're making decisions, or when we are thinking about building our framework for decision making in the future. And so there are a few things that, when we think about what makes a good leader and, what type of decisions that good leaders make, and how good decision making really ties in with being a good leader. And so, often in for-profits, we forget about how important ethical behavior and goodwill are, you know, as components of our for-profit business and its succeeding. And so in chapter 1, they talk a little bit about Warren Buffett, who is, the Oracle of Omaha. And Warren Buffett is one of those folks that some of you may have heard of before. I think we have at least one or two Warren Buffett texts in the library if you happen to be on campus. But how he makes decisions and how he informs those around him. And just thinking about, start putting yourself into the shoes of leadership and how you would lead folks and how you would lead your company. And chapter 1 PowerPoint in particular. So when you're reading chapter 1 and then you look at chapter 1, the chapter 1 PowerPoint, thinking about which elements are maybe legal, but not in particularly ethical, and things that might be considered ethical. So this whole idea between legal and ethical and if you've had Business 101, we do several, we spend a little bit of time on the legal ethical matrix. And so for those of you that have not had Business 101, that is something that we will also talk about and think about how, you know, when we make decisions, depending on the size of our company and depending on the type of industry or within our uh, in which our company operates, what kind of decisions are decisions that have a large impact on our company and a large impact on different stakeholders, and which decisions maybe have a smaller impact, right? And then, really, one of the things about ethical decision making is trying to think about, how you will every decision that you make from a leadership standpoint kind of impacts and starts to mold how you have this framework that you use to make decisions as you continue to grow and you continue to take on more responsibility, in particular in a leadership role. Whether you are looking to work for another company or whether you want to be a leader for a company that maybe you have started. And so when you're looking through some of the different terms, and you can click on those terms, again, remember that a lot of the things that we study here, in particular when you're in higher ed or when you're in college, you start to learn about some of the different terms and things that are important. For instance, compliance. Some types of businesses have a lot of items that need to be kind of tied into compliance. So government regulation has a lot to do with that. So certain industries, in particular, we'll say the pharmaceutical industry, there's a lot of compliance and regulation and legal items that need to be kind of pulled into the mix and considered when you're making decisions. Now, do you always agree with those regulations? Absolutely not. Some of the regulations that are out there are frivolous, and that's okay. But remember that if you are a company, you have to understand the legal ramifications of your decision making. And so corporate culture is also another big one. So I'm kind of going through a few terms here that, certain companies, I've had friends and colleagues that have gone to work for a company and they just really don't like how the company is operating for whatever reason. They don't feel like they're a good fit for the corporate culture that company is displaying, and and how managers interact. And so the fact that you can have perspective on that is very important, right? And you have to learn to trust your own intuition in many instances because of that. Corporate social responsibility, the practice in which a business views itself. So this whole idea of social responsibility has really come into play in the last 10 to 15 years. It was not really on the radar before that as a component of, in particular, for-profit businesses, but publicly traded companies actually have a C-suite or an executive officer and a whole department that is responsible for social responsibility within the organization. And if they don't, they have to do that actually to keep up with other competitors, because they will figure out ways to make ethical choices and have a corporate culture that is more inviting maybe than others. And guess what? If you're a for-profit business, you want a corporate culture that is inviting, because that will keep employees, and once you keep those employees, you kind of have to take care of them, right? And part of that is corporate social responsibility and understanding how you fit into the world from an ethical standpoint. A few other things thinking about, ethical theories. There are a lot of theories out there as to how we make decisions as a company, right? And so those are things for you to consider as you are moving through the process of ethical decision making. Thinking about your stakeholders, individuals, and entities affected by a business's decisions, including customers, suppliers, as I mentioned before, investors, employees, etc. And so we think about a lot of those different areas when we're making decisions. And so for chapter one, we really want to think about like kind of our own decision making process, and then think about how we feel as individuals relative to decisions that are being made uh, by companies that we work for, like different things to invest in maybe by the company, or different areas, how we market maybe as a company. And if you are starting your own business, if you are more on the entrepreneurial track, thinking about how you move forward as a company that is respected and is known for kind of being part of a community versus being against the community in some fashion, because for-profit businesses in the world we live in, let's just be honest, oftentimes folks uh, they can get a bad rap because they are there to make money, and they are cutting corners, and they're doing all those things that we learn about in business classes, how to basically maximize your profits, and which is a good thing because you want to make sure that you are making enough money that you can keep your business alive. But you also have to remember that a big component of that is ethical decision making. So chapter one really starts to get you thinking about that. And when you're thinking about, there are a few different, when you go through the terms, when you go through the PowerPoint, when you go through a few of the video links, when you read the chapter, uh, you look at being a professional of integrity, short video, ethics and profitability. I have a few short videos posted for you. Different ethical standards and how that might differ depending on the culture that you with how you live and what culture within your business operates. In particular, are you a global business, so you have to think more broadly? uh, okay, so that's chapter one. The other thing is that between now and I guess Sunday, we the college need you to somehow show that you are present in this class. You can upload a 2-minute video. Here you see, if you are on Blackboard, you will see that there's a spot for that. You can send me a video. Some of you already have. Kudos to those folks. Send me a short video and just introduce yourself. And there also is, if you complete homework, right? So by Sunday, if you complete your chapter one homework, which involves answering several questions. So there, you click on the homework chapter one. There's a Word doc there. You download that. You answer those questions, and then you upload it. And that is due by 2/8, which is Sunday. If you run into some sort of trouble, either IT wise, like you can't figure out how to upload it, or things like that, please let me know. I did give you my phone number so that you on the syllabus, so that you're able to text me and say I'm having difficulties, and we'll figure it out. The other thing in chapter one is a two-part discussion question, which is the homework and the discussion are mandatory. So to try to get those in by 2/8. And also, the other thing is to touch base with me in some way, shape, or form if you can. It is by submitting items, but you could also, which I do love, submit a video to me in that video Dropbox. Submit a video. Some of you have phones that allow you to record a video, and you can send that to me because I like to try to get to know my students. Some of you I've had before in other classes, some of you I have in current classes. Anyway, just part of our verification process. And so the discussion that is also due this week is two-part. Please tell the class a little bit about yourself and your interest in EC3 business classes. And then number two, this is actually relative to chapter one in ethics. Please answer the following question. Ultimately, do we typically have different standards for ethical behavior when it comes to family and friends, and is this how it should be? And so just chime in on that. There's no wrong answer. A couple sentences about that. And you are welcome to chime in on any other student. Your peers, your student peers are, those are your biggest supporters, right? They understand what you're going through out in life and all of those different things, being a student and then also living life, right? So you're welcome to chime in with other students, things that if you find something that seems interesting to you or that you feel a commonality with. But remember, be respectful and inclusive to those other students. And if for some reason you feel either in a response that you get to a post you have, somehow you feel that it does not quite align with what you think should be happening, reach out to me first. That's your first line of defense. Or if you think someone makes a post that is maybe not respectful or inclusive, reach out to me first before you kind of go, because it may be just a misunderstanding when you are on the discussion board. And part of the online courses is a very robust and interactive discussion board. And so as you're looking through chapter one, you can go ahead and work on those items that are due Sunday. And then typically Sunday night, early Monday morning, I open up week two, and it is a similar format as to week one. I am on campus Monday and Wednesday mornings. I teach a class, and then I have office hours after the class. So the class goes till roughly 10:45, and then I'm usually on campus till like 12:30. So you can stop by. If I'm not sitting at my desk, you can ask Julie, our secretary on the second floor there, to text me or find me. And you have my number, so you can text me. I'm just around campus somewhere. Also, I am the faculty advisor for student government, which is not political. It's just representation of students. And we meet every Thursday at noon in the community room, which is first floor conference room. Right when you come in the front doors, it's right there. If you have any interest in that, but I am there if you would like to talk or speak with me or have questions. Let's see what else. That's probably it for now, because we're already getting pretty long in this video. Hopefully you're having a wonderful spring 26 kickoff to your semester. And EC3 welcomes you. Have a wonderful afternoon.